Welcome to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlinson and I ask my guests one simple question. Why? Focusing on the importance of why, I share with you the relatable, uplifting and inspiring conversations I have with people from all walks of life. This podcast will encourage you to focus on your why to enable and empower you to achieve the success you desire. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. So today on the Focus on Why podcast, I am joined by Davide Pagnotta from Wise Humanity. Davide, welcome.
Hi, Amy. Thank you for having me here.
I'm very excited to have you here. I met you last month and I was blown away by your presentation, and I knew that you had to be on one of my early episodes of this new podcast.
I'm flattered, really. Thanks.
Oh, it was a really good presentation. Just to give some context to the audience, I was at a professional speakers association meeting. It was my first one, so I didn't know what to expect. And I went along to a fantastic meeting held in Kent, hosted by Mel and Jez. And Davide was one of the speakers. Very, very tight time slot. How long did you have?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. So you really have to pack in a punch in that 10 minutes. And he told the most wonderful tale. I absolutely loved it. And since then we've been communicating on LinkedIn, and I just knew that he had to be part of this. So share with us, Davide, what it is you actually do.
I share practical wisdom tools with people to remove all the unnecessary complications that we create ourselves in our lives. And I'm sure that most people are aware that many times we make our own lives more complicated, but it's actually in ways that we don't always realize. It's actually more than that, more than just a few times. So there's a lot that we can do to live a more radiant life, even if the things around us don't change, just because we change inside. And those practical wisdom tools is what I share with people.
That sounds beautiful. So what is it that you can actually do for people in this role?
Our approach is very humble, and we don't have. I don't have anything to teach, and I don't have a cleverer way to live, and I offer alternatives. And in many important things in life, like where do I find my happiness? How do I build a healthy relationship? What do I look for in my life partner? What do I look for in my job? We often give, these are very important questions, and we often give standard answers to them. And the standard answers are okay for probably the majority of people, but not for everyone. And if one of these standard answers doesn't work for you, then maybe there's alternative frameworks, alternative mental models, alternative attitudes that you can use to go through life that are better suited to you. So what we do is we present and explain and help people try other tools in their lives and see if they work for them better than the current ones. And then if they do, they become theirs and they've enhanced their lives.
So how would people know that they could take their happiness to another level? I mean, they might think, oh, I'm fine. I'm okay. I know that, there's a few niggly things, but actually I'm all right. What would it mean?
Look, if you say you're all right, there's probably already more that you can achieve. You can a higher level of happiness that you can live. We don't necessarily need to wake up always radiant and happy and on a Monday morning at 6 to go to work. It's not like that. It's okay to feel tired. It's okay to have your moments. But if your general undertone, the general emotional tone that you live in is not positive, happy, motivated, with good energy and a nice perspective about life, if it's not like this, then you're probably not doing a good service to your life. You have an opportunity there bigger than the one that you're exploiting already. And yeah.
And you recognize that, because is that something that you experienced yourself?
Yes. I was enjoying a good career in corporate. Was climbing the ladder, good roles, very good pay, social recognition. But going to work wasn't making me come alive. I was quite far, actually, radiant. And it hadn't always been like that, but it was definitely like that the last few years that I worked for corporate. And it was a time where the standard career progression wasn't working for me anymore. There was a misalignment there. And so I started looking around. I opened my eyes and my ears and to see if there was something that made more sense for me.
And what industry were you working in at the time?
I was in the energy sector at that time. I'm a physicist originally. And so I started working in engineering companies. And the last industry I worked for was engineering and construction in the energy sector.
So you've moved from one type of energy to another.
That's very true, yes. And the one before was telecommunication. So I've also moved from a way to communicate to another, yes.
That's nice. I like the synergy. And I do believe that all of the dots can be connected in hindsight to take you to where you are now.
Absolutely. And even that I was a physicist, even if I work a lot more on wisdom now, and there's actually a lot of the concepts that underline ancient wisdom traditions that are being confirmed by modern physics and neuroscience. So even that makes a lot of sense today.
Fantastic. And why is it important for you to share this practical wisdom?
I could have an answer. I'll give you two answers. Well, for a number of reasons, I'm actually, I normally live in London, but I'm in Spain at the moment for the lockdown. And in Spanish, there's two ways to ask why. You can ask por qué, but you can also ask para qué. And so one question is what pushes you, and another question is to what end are you doing it? So what vision is pulling you? Now, so I could tell you that one thing I definitely love in what I do is that I see the impact that I make on people. And the feedback that I receive in terms of helping them taking important steps in their careers, taking important steps in relationships, saving some relationships at times, helping people find more meaning in their lives. So this is amazing. It tells me that I'm doing the right things. Now, para qué? I honestly think that everyone has a purpose in this world, even if they don't know it. And I often say, this is just what I was made, what I was brought into this world to do. And I just have that feeling. So it makes sense because it makes me feel, yes, this is what I grew up to do.
So the semantic differences aside of the two different types of why, what is more important, or what is for you the reason why you're doing this? You said you've got a purpose and you believe that everyone has a purpose. What would you say is the profound sense for you right now?
Okay, I have a strong belief. Actually, this question in the current pandemic also makes even more sense. I have a profound belief that we are all part of the world in every possible way. I personally don't feel different to a gazelle or an elephant. in a way, I don't even feel too different from a cloud or a river. If we look around in wherever we are, if we open the window and look out, everything we see, we immediately understand that it's there in nature, in this world for a reason. So if there's a cloud, we know why it's there. We may not be happy it's there at the moment, but we know why it's there. And a river or an animal, an insect, a lion, and we know why they're there, right? We know that they're serving a purpose. And I think that's the same for us. It's the same for human beings. I don't think we're different and to the other animals. And the so the way that we can live together is beyond us as individuals, but is about us as humanity and as a planet, as a universe. So all the tools that I teach and that I share with people help people connect to each other and help ease our relationships. They make them easier, more profound, more genuine, more productive, and more connected. So, in a way, using the tools that I discuss with people actually help everyone connect with everyone else beyond the difference, the political difference, geographical difference that we can have.
Definitely. It takes it to that sort of real connection with the environment that we live in, and takes us back to being human, and what does human mean in this world, and what is our role to play here.
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, and the work that you're doing, at what point did you realize that, or how did you get there? What was the journey of going from the energy sector to this type of energy and this work?
So, like in all the things, when we look backwards, there's a bit of magic. I think maybe around 8 years ago, something like that. One day, this was literally one day. One day I woke up and I realized that I was using, in my everyday life, I was using lots of the tools that I learned at a personal development course that I had taken a few years before when I was doing my MBA. And until then, I had always been a happy person, fulfilled, with nice relationships, good friends, good family. But all of a sudden, I realized that actually I was even happier. I was even more accomplished, and my relationships were even more genuine and more profound and more close. And I realized that all these tools were actually helping me a lot. They had taken me to a different level of life entirely. At the same time, and Mike, I also realized, and that took a little more than one day, but I realized that, yes, my corporate career was going really well from that many points of view, but I realized at that point, there was a disconnect. And what I really wanted to do was share these tools, share this possibility of living at a higher level of accomplishment and a higher level of life with everyone. And then it took a few years. So while I was still going through living my corporate life, I started collaborating more with the professor that actually taught that course that I had taken, Dr. Rao. And then I actually left my corporate career and started working with him full time for a few years. And now I've just launched my new project together with my business partner, and that is called Wise Humanity, to bring these tools out to the greater world, the greater community.
And what will Wise Humanity do for the human race?
I'm confident it's not the only one doing what we're trying to do, and but it will help people become stronger and let go of fear let go of insecurity, and embrace themselves and embrace the community that we are as a species altogether. And as you said before, they're connected to the planet.
Absolutely, and being better humans and taking responsibility for the roles that we're playing here is a consciousness and a self-awareness that we definitely need to reflect on, particularly now while we've got this opportunity to. So, explain.
What you just said about responsibility makes a lot of sense. One expression I use a lot is we are consumers today. We consume the resources of the world, and we can become contributors. So moving from being consumers to being contributors is a step that we can all take. And by the way, we need to save ourselves. Because the current system is not sustainable, and then lack of sustainability comes from this separation between us and the planet. As long as we consume it, we're not integrated with it.
I think that's a great distinction to make, and the ability to now give and show awareness is phenomenal, and it's a fundamental approach that we need to adopt. And I think we have become disconnected from that, and in a world where we've never been so connected, we are actually quite disconnected.
Sure.
And at the moment we have been brought together as a whole, and I feel that is about as clear a message as you can get. So, but with all these things, and I'm going to bring it back to the talk that you gave at that meeting where I first met you, because I think that's probably a message that would be relevant to our conversation today that could be shared. Would you be willing to share that?
Yeah. So I think in the context of our chat, there's a lot that we do to control our environment, and also we may not do it with the awareness that we're trying to manipulate others, but there's a lot of control that we try to exert on other people as well. And control also brings a lot of stress, because if things don't go the way you want, then you get stressed. And control also actually creates a lot of the problems that we experience. For example, and this is how our brain works, but not many people know it, that when something unpleasant happens in our lives, we start suffering from it, not the moment the event has happened, but the moment we label it bad. And so in a way, the badness, the suffering, is not in the event itself, it's in our label. Now, this, on one hand, this is bad because it doesn't it takes away the excuse, I can't blame anyone else. On the other, it's a great thing, because I'm responsible of it, but that also means that I'm free and I can change it. So, and many times, in fact, we realize that something that happened to us and we immediately labeled it negative, then it actually turned into a blessing in disguise. And we end up being in a place where we are stronger, happier, and with nicer people around us than we were before. But when that event happened initially, we panicked, we labeled it negative, we started bringing suffering, anxiety, fear about the future upon us. And then a few months later, we can then look back and say, oh, that was completely unnecessary. But then if it's completely unnecessary, why do we rush into labeling things bad? And this is the story, and I'd like to use an old Sufi tale to reinforce the story. So this is the story of a farmer many centuries ago. And the farmer decides he wants to change his life, and he borrows money from all the neighbors and buys a stallion that can help him farm. And that night, there's a big storm. The stallion's scared and managed to run away. And the next morning, all the neighbors go to the farmer and say, "Oh, you poor you! You wanted to change your life. You bought this stallion. This stallion now is gone. You still owe us money. You're destitute." And he shrugs his shoulders and says, "Well, good thing, bad thing, who knows?" Then he goes for a walk in the forest and he bumps into his stallion. And that is there peacefully eating grass together with another 10 wild horses. So he catches the 11 horses, brings them back to the farm, builds a stronger stable, and so that they don't run away. And now he has 11 horses. And all the neighbors go to the farmer and say, "Oh, lucky you. We thought you were destitute, but look at you now. You're such a rich man." And he shrugs his shoulders and goes, "Good thing, bad thing, who knows?" So the farmer and his son, they're working with the horses, and one day the son falls off the horse and breaks his leg, and the leg heals crooked. And all the neighbors go to the farmer and say, "Oh, you had such a nice son, and now his leg's crooked. He can't help you with work, and nobody will want to marry him. Poor you." And the farmer shrugs his shoulders and says, "Good thing, bad thing, who knows?" And the next day, the king of that kingdom declares war to a neighboring kingdom, and all the youths need to go to work, to war, and and all the neighbors go to the farmer and say, "Oh, lucky you, your son is still here with you," because he couldn't go to war with his crooked leg, but all our sons had to go to the front, and who knows if we'll ever see them alive again. And the farmer shrugs his shoulders and says, "Good thing, bad thing, who knows?" And the story goes on forever. But I'll stop here. But the point is, events are really neutral. There's no need to label them positive or negative. And the moral of the story is also, don't stop using expressions like, "Yeah, there's a big cloud, but look at the silver lining," because they don't. Again, many times they work, but many times you actually feel like you're lying to yourself because you're trying to force yourself to just look at the silver lining and ignore the big black cloud that is up there. So not labeling things, neither good nor bad. And if something happens that is aligned with what you wanted at that moment in time, enjoy it, celebrate it. If something unwanted happens, don't label it in any way. Just think of, is there a possible chain of events that will actually take me from here where I am now, a little bit disappointed, to a nicer place? Yes. And if there is one, even just one, if I can only imagine one, but if there is one, what is one action that I can take now that will set me off that journey, and then go out and do it?
Yeah,
This is the story.
I love the story, and I've retold that so many times since. So, it's one of those stories that is can be applied to so many different times in your life or events in your life, and it just grounds you so well and to not label something at that time, and just see how things pan out, to just allow them to unravel, but taking responsibility for your actions is a fantastic tool to have in your toolbox to say. And going back to the unnecessary complications that you say we have, and how we can let go of those layers, how has that affected what you do or how you've changed?
There's a lot less anxiety in my life. I had a number of goals to achieve, and like everyone, having a job, basic ones, having a job, buying a house, find a partner, look after your parents.
The traditional route that we're all led on.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's absolutely fine. What changed a lot is my attachment to them. And today, for example, this is probably the one, it's having one of the huge benefits that I received in life. I still have objectives, and the objectives set the direction of where I go. But my happiness does not depend on achieving them. My happiness depends on the person I'm being every day while I'm walking in that direction and while I'm doing all I can to walk in that direction. But whether I achieve that goal or not, it's okay. It's if I achieve it, I'll celebrate it. If I don't, I'll set myself another target. But my happiness, my own value, sense of worth, is based on the person that I am and the person that I'm being every moment with everyone around me every day. I don't postpone my happiness to that big and I do have big projects in life, but I don't postpone my happiness to that moment.
And how do you self-check and make sure that you're not attaching your happiness to those big goals and you're enjoying your journey?
Oh, that's very easy. Life does that for me. every time I feel scared, it means that there's an attachment. Every time I feel sad or I feel I'm not good enough, there's some attachment there to an idea I have of myself, or an idea how things should be, or an idea about how other people should have reacted, or what kind of validation they should have given me. So life has plenty of opportunities to remind me that I'm not on track, or yes, I am on track.
So what if you hadn't done this MBA and stumbled across Dr. Rao and been recommended to go on this course? What would you be doing now?
I'll answer your question in a second. I want to say something else first. And this is something I said during one of my classes. I don't believe in reincarnation. And I believe in nature. I don't believe in a God the way religion says. I don't believe in reincarnation, but if there is a reincarnation, the one thing that I would love to find at some point in time in my next life, I love to bump into these concepts again, because they really gave me a strength and tools that I didn't even imagine. So, to answer your question, I don't know. I have no idea what would have happened. Actually, this is a good question, because I'm thinking of something else as well. I was having a happy life. I had a good social life, good money, nice friends, nice family. And it's fine. It is fine. And this is also the way I approach people. If you're happy, fulfilled with what you have, if you don't feel that there could be something more and you're not there, that's fine. Don't enjoy it, really. Be the best person you can be and enjoy it. So maybe, I don't know, I would have enjoyed it either way. But this happened, and now I'm happy that I found another why.
And you mentioned about reincarnation and how you'd like to stumble across these tools in that life as well. Stumble across, I think, or just find these or have these and bring them with you. At what point would you recommend that people adopt this type of thinking into their lives?
As we said earlier, I think we are at the point in time in life where we have to be. So everyone that comes, that we get in touch with, or that comes, and then that everyone that finds us, it's the right time in their lives. What I've seen is that the average age of the people that actually work with us is becoming lower and lower. They're getting younger and younger. And we recently had two people that were 29, and they came to our main program, and they flourished. They changed visibly, and in one case, this person had a huge impact in their relationship with their partner, and another one, it was more professional, but their whole mindset changed, and they were so grateful of. Actually, they were also aware that they had the chance to have this change so early in their lives, and they were very happy about it. So with my business partner, we're also working on trying to create a way to bring awareness to these concepts in the schools. We're not there yet, but it's definitely one of the passions of my business partner.
I think
she's a teacher.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic thing to do, because I think that the younger you are to adopt this type of mindset, and it's something that I'm very aware of with my children who are in their late teens, that to adopt this practice as soon as you can, and have then sort of the way that you live around this, centered around this, and certainly have the good thing, bad thing, who knows approach. That's an easy one, because you can just think about that story and adopt that straight away, and just not have that labeling that you have, which is a really simple tool. So I'm very impressed of what you're doing, and I think Wise Humanity is certainly a great concept and great business name, because it's something that people can really remember, to use that wisdom and have a more radiant life, as you say.
Thanks, Amy. There's one thing now we were saying, when is the right time? An image that came to mind. Learning is, in a way, is like a glass full of water, and we normally go through life, and this glass is full, and we need to willingly pour some water out so that something else can come in. So there is a strong conscious or unconscious decision that we take when we say, yes, I want to learn something else. I want to be open to some different way.
Mm-hmm.
And it everyone creates that space in their glass at different moments in their lives.
Well, that's just so powerful, Davide. I really enjoyed talking with you today, and I know that people are going to be taking something away from this, and hopefully that they will look around in the nature around them, think about what those roles are of all the things around them, and just connect again. Because, as you said, all of us have a purpose. All things in the world have a purpose, and if you don't know that, it's not a bad thing. And I think if you could just say, I really thank you for coming on. It's been brilliant. But if you could just give our audience a final message, that would be fantastic.
Well, something about purpose that you just mentioned. Purpose is a bit of a key word these days, which is fine. It's an important thing. I actually like to think of purpose like the light from a lighthouse, the beam from a lighthouse, and even if the sea is rough and dark, you know where to go. There's something that has always stressed me out about purpose, and it's when people tell you, "Oh, what's your purpose?" Or they tell you, "Oh, you need to find a purpose," or your purpose is not clear enough. Like it's your fault if it's not clear enough. I think with purpose, the semantic but also practical way to put it is not that you need to find it, but that you need to create the space for it to manifest. In a way, I think it's like the talking about farmers again, and it's like, the farmers they plant the seeds, and then they wait. And there's years when there's a fantastic harvest, and other years where it's less, other years there's nothing, others there's a lot, and then the locusts come and eat everything. So my advice about purpose is create the soil, and then the purpose will manifest itself. So live a life that is congruent with your values. And sometimes, we use sentences in life like, oh, but I need to pay the bills. Yeah, or I need this job because I need to pay the bills, for example. And, maybe, it's not the job that pays your bills, it's you. And there's thousands of ways where you can actually get the money to pay the bills. So live a life that is congruent to your values and without fear and without necessarily following the route that the standard route or standard career that people show you. And the purpose will manifest itself.
Thank you for listening to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlinson, and if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a 5-star iTunes review. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, and become a member of the inspiring, uplifting, and positive Focus on Why Facebook group. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.